Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boys Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys?
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Jersey Boys podcast right here on Chop Sports Media's YouTube channel. Of course, wherever you get your podcasts. It is Dave Sturchio. It is nationally known comedian Brett Ernst. And, of course, it is the Grinch has returned. America's fan, Keith Ernst. Fellas, how we doing? I mean, the Super Bowl just happened. We could touch on that for a minute, but we are officially in... We're the same record as everybody else again, so we're back. The Cowboys are back in the conversation about the offseason. The offseason's here already, believe it or not. Brett, your thoughts? Did you win any scratch on the Super Bowl there, buddy? No, anything?
I'll put a little something on it, but what was more important, and I don't want to brag, but I was hanging out with Kenny Gant.
Wow, there it is.
The shark.
Yeah, all the pictures,
bro. The picture you sent us of the Super Bowl ring of you wearing it, that was just it doesn't get any cooler than that, honestly.
Hey, were you wearing it, Brett?
Yeah, I put it on. Yeah,
took his finger down like because of the weight.
I did a bitch move, and I was like, "Can I put your ring on?"
It's not a bitch move. I mean, all right, well, maybe it's like a children's move, but we're grown adults. We got to see. Listen, when's the next time you're going to see a Super Bowl ring? Honestly, and that's the question we keep asking the Cowboys.
And on top of that, I missed a great because I was shooting Cobra Kai this weekend.
Yeah.
And I left town for the Super Bowl, which was kind of a good thing because I heard it was crazy here. But I missed opportunity to meet Ed Jones and Too Tall, and to all those people who don't know who that is, if they're in their 20s.
What do you mean he's too tall? I don't. What is he? Just he's a tall man? Like
I didn't meet him. Oh. Yeah,
no, I'm just saying that's what people would say. Oh, by the way, also not in the Ring of Honor, but that's another discussion for another day.
That's a disgrace. And then also Michael Irvin. I was supposed to go to a party, a private party, and it was thrown by Michael Irvin and Floyd Mayweather. Yeah,
but you might have dodged the bullet by not going to that one, just for the sole purpose of like our kind of people that we don't make it out of situations like this without something bad happening. So it's Michael Irvin, for Christ's sakes. I'm surprised there hasn't been an article already about it.
Nah, it was pretty tame.
All right.
Well,
it didn't make anything up.
I actually I hung out with my neighbor who played Division III football, and we watched the football game. Pretty boring over here.
My buddy Chris pictures with him. It was like it was so annoying that I'm glad I wasn't here because I was working, but I mean, God, everybody was here this weekend. I mean, I heard it was just everybody was here. Ray Lewis was here. Everybody was here.
Yeah, from what I gather, Vegas had such a good turnout that we might see Super Bowl in Vegas like once every 4 years or something like that. We're hearing like rumors of that because of just and look, it became the most watched program ever when it comes to anything. So that's a big. I mean, obviously every Super Bowl gets bigger and bigger, but this one there was a lot of meaning behind it. There was a lot of hoopla as far as the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift crap, and then you had Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl with his guys. Could he manage a game better than what they call him a game manager? Was he a game executive? We can kind of dive into the Super Bowl.
Man.
He did look okay. Great. I tell you what, though.
He looked great.
No, but I'm saying like the biggest things for me is like the players that had a little bit of the yips. Early on we had Pacheco, who not notorious for fumbling, and then CMC, the best running back in football. He put the ball on the carpet. So it was very alarming to see that. But once these guys settled in, everything was kind of hunky. It was fine. Like the game itself played out very well. I want to ask you this, and you guys got to be honest. Keith, I'll ask you first. Keith, did you know the new overtime rules going in to the playoffs or the Super Bowl rather? Did you know the new rules of the fact that whoever wins the toss could have went down there and scored a touchdown and the game still goes? Did you know this?
Did I know it? Yes. Did I remember it when it was happening? No, I didn't remember when it was happening, but I know it. I remember they changed it.
I remember they changed it too, but like you forget about it because it's like it didn't happen.
First time it ever fucking happened in 3 years.
Right.
It's not like we got to. It's not like we have to stay on top of that. We're fucking fans, you know.
But but imagine having a touchdown scored on the opening drive in overtime as a fan in the crowd, and you're not aware, and you think you just won the Super Bowl.
God,
oh my God! Like that would have been tragedy for anybody that was involved in that one. But in any event,
yeah. But if the Niners, if that was the Niners, and they all started like, imagine they dumped the Gatorade and do everything, and they're like, no, dude, there's one more.
Patty gets to go back on the field and rip your hearts out real quick. So hold on.
Yeah.
And
Mahomes isn't done yet, buddy.
Yeah, dude. And it was kind of the writing was on the wall, I think, a little bit towards the end of that game. I was texting my good friend Greg, who is a 49ers fan, who was watching the game, and I'm trying to sit to him. I said, buddy, I'm sorry, but if Mahomes gets this ball back, he's not going to suck the entire game. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying he sucked, but like he wasn't playing Superman ball, but like eventually you knew how many chances these guys were getting, that it was going to happen. It was inevitable that Mahomes was get this last chance, Brett.
No, he was playing Superman ball. What do you mean faces? When he has to fucking win, the guy wins. That's Superman.
Yeah, there he is.
That's what he does.
No, I understand that. No, but it wasn't happening all game is what I'm saying.
Both of you discounted the fucking Chiefs coming into, not you. I know Brett did. You said the Chiefs would beat the Dolphins. I know, but I'm just saying, though, no one believed in the Chiefs at all. Everyone just threw them out the fucking window because they think that, they didn't play that good this in the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, even at the end, whatever. This is what champions do. They do what fucking champions do. And why I don't know how in the hell Cowboy fans were rooting for the fucking 49ers. And I knew fans that were doing it because I don't like Mahomes. You guys know I don't fucking like Mahomes, but that's no reason to root for the 49ers. That's some bitch fucking shit right there. It really is. Niner fans are fucking punks, bro.
I feel
They're
attacked.
the worst kind of fans you can even imagine. Dude, there's a chant that went out, fuck the Cowboys or whatever it was, in the middle of the media frenzy. All the 49er fans were doing that. For nothing. We're always on their mind. We haven't done shit in 30 fucking years, and we're always on their mind. That's how much they hate us. And I hate them too now, so it doesn't matter.
Rent free is what the kids say. Rent free. But Brett, go ahead.
There was a meme going around too. We're always in people's heads. There was a meme going around with Tom Brady's kids holding the Super Bowl, and said Tom Brady's kids have held more Super Bowl trophies than Dallas has. Well, guess what? Niners haven't won since before us. Where's that mean?
Is there any merit to getting there 3 times since then?
I mean, look, it's still second place. Whether you're fourth place, second place, there's only one champion every year.
Agreed.
And that's what matters. Now, look, to me, I would rather not make the Super Bowl than lose it. That's just me personally.
For my mentality, my sanity, I agree with you.
I don't.
That would just, I mean, to me, to get so close, to get that close and not hold that would hurt more than not making. I'm just saying, for me personally, as an accomplishment, yeah, of course.
But you think about it. But think about it. You get the Cowboys all season. It's like when they're out, it's like something's taking out of me when they're out of the season. Like I really don't give a fuck about the next week now. It's like I like being relevant to the end. If we're in the last fucking game and it ends, I'm going to be depressed whether it's in week 17 or it's in the Super Bowl. No, it's going to hit me the same.
I get what you're saying. I'm talking about the heartbreak. Like if we were the Niners. As a Cowboys fan, it would have been devastating.
I truly don't know if I would be able to get scraped off the earth. I don't know, man. Like, and those are the things I think about all the time. I say that like, I got to my old man's house at like, I don't know, 1 p.m, knowing the game wasn't going to start for like 5.5 fucking hours. And I said, oh my God, like, I don't know if anybody can watch 5.5 hours of pregame. But if it was the Cowboys, I'm locked in at 8 a.m. watching every single fucking interview leading up to the thing.
Imagine being in the Super Bowl. Like, imagine being the Cowboy. We're in the Super Bowl because we have to imagine. And
we have to play fake.
They're cutting to Taylor Swift and fucking everybody's cheering.
Oh, dude.
And then every 2 seconds there's a break, a media break. You know what I mean? And you're losing. Imagine if we were the Chiefs. Like, remember when they called that defensive holding that gave them the ball another
3rd and 14 or whatever? Yeah.
I just kept putting myself as a Cowboys fan, going, "Oh my God, I don't know what I would have done." And then the people that were in, because I was watching it in a bar in Atlanta. The cheering when it doesn't go your way. See, that's why I'd have to be home in a private place.
Do you think you can enjoy? Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm looking at this now, like, for obviously I'm not a Chiefs or a 49ers fan, but like I'm watching the Super Bowl and then every time they cut the commercial, I'm like, ooh, can't wait to see another commercial. You know, like can't wait to see if they're funny. Like, I don't know if I would be able to fucking enjoy. Like, I would tell everybody in my family, no Super Bowl boxes, none of that shit. We're not rooting for fucking scores. Like,
honestly,
we're good.
What the fuck is wrong with both of you? You sound like two little fucking bitches, bro. Just watch the game. Have fun. Who gives a fuck?
Bro, I can't watch a regular season game with the Cowboys without fucking wanting to fucking kill myself.
I mean, when it's over, then you fucking complain. You know, I can't. I'll lose a few days later. Yeah, I'm a bitch.
Fucking relax, Grinch. Relax.
What's the Grinch? I'm you. Oh, I gotta be in a room, locked in a fucking panic room.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm standing on it.
I can't hear other people cheer.
My dad said he had to, as a kid, my dad had to go lock himself in a room to watch the Cowboys games. He couldn't be around people.
Bro, I was even getting frustrated because, by the way, you know who loves the new overtime rules is anybody who took the over.
Well, there was also controversy with that considering they didn't have to kick the extra point and somebody had at 47 and a half and it landed on 47.
Yeah,
so,
I teased it down to 41.
Damn.
Oh, yeah. I thought it hit perfect. Didn't it hit perfect?
No.
Well, it became 41 when they kicked the field goal, and then when the Chiefs scored, then you hit the over.
Yeah, but I saw a couple bad beats where people had it at 47 and a half, and it went to 47, and because when you score that game-winning touchdown, the extra point is not required. So that's it. Game over.
No, I'll tell you where I'm a little bitch, though, in the game.
Yeah.
Is I texted my buddies, and I told them, hey, can you just text me when they kick the ball off? Because I can't stand all the fucking virtue signal, all the shit that goes on before. Just start the fucking game. So I literally waited. I missed a little bit of the game. I was like, yo, did it start? They're like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And then I turned it on.
Yeah, you got fucking America the Beautiful. You got 17 national anthems. You got it's all over
fucking all the celebrities. They're like, they give a fuck about any. It's just, I just can't.
Well,
so.
The good news is,
it was a great game, though, I thought.
It came down to the wire, man. Like, what other games go to this fucking overtime?
Everybody was like, the first half was slow. I loved it. I loved the first half. Kept it close. It was a defensive game. You know what I mean? I liked the first. I liked the first half was like a great defensive game. Second half, the offenses stepped it up. Went to overtime. I thought it was great.
Well, it's good that you said defensive, and as we segue into the biggest news for the Dallas Cowboys right now is we were going to record a couple weeks ago, and we didn't have a defensive coordinator yet. We didn't know what the hell was going to happen because we saw Dan Quinn take the job over in Washington, which, again, I think it was time for him to just kind of do his thing. I mean, there's been years now where he's denied himself a head coaching job to stick around and try to finish this shit and this, that, and the third. And look, eventually he's just like, all right, defense got worked against the Packers, and anybody who said that they were tired and shit like that, that's just a bad look. And a lot of people have deflected that. CeeDee Lamb has gone against it, and he said, no offense to the law, but, we got to be ready for that kind of shit. Like, that's not, there's a lot.
Every team is in the same situation.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, you're tired, you're beat up, it's the end of the season, we get it. But don't openly say, like, why'd you lose? Like, oh, maybe we were gassed. Like, no, everybody's gassed. It's the fucking end of the season. It's January. February, like whatever. But anyway, the big news is Dan Quinn moves on. They bring over Joe Witt Jr. over there. They denied Al Harris over there. Al Harris has been reported today, according to Patrick Walker. He's reported to work. And I know it's like, what does that mean? It means he wasn't packing his bag and leaving. He was going to his office. So it doesn't look like Al Harris is going anywhere. And the Dallas Cowboys right now, as a matter of fact, as we record this, are holding a press conference for our new defensive coordinator, Mike Zimmer, our new/old defensive coordinator. Now, your knee-jerk reactions to the signing, or the hiring, rather, of Mike Zimmer, I know one thing. I could just quote Darren Woodson, who, by the way, was once again snubbed from the Hall of Fame. I digress with that one. I'll talk about that one another day. But what I will say is that he said that Mike Zimmer is not going to be your friend. He's not going to be Dan Quinn, like just rah-rah in the booth the entire time because he's excited somebody made a play. Mike Zimmer is going to, I can't say legitimize the defense because we just don't know, because we don't even know the personnel. But style, I'll break down some stats. In 2003, as the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator, he led up the fewest yards in the NFL. The entire league, fewest yards. He was fourth in his second season, fourth team overall defense. He was 10th in 2001. He had a top 5 defense 3 times as a member of the Minnesota Vikings as their head coach. Their defense was top 5. And then the Bengals had a top 7 unit 4 of his 6 years. So, Keith, we'll start with you. How are you feeling about Mike Zimmer coming back to Dallas and kind of instilling a different, I guess you could say, a different mindset?
I mean, I love it. I mean, if we're gonna go with an older fella, why not go with one that's worked, in the past? And that's the thing. People are like, "Oh, Minnesota, he didn't do anything." Actually, he did. I mean, he didn't have, I believe he didn't have Kirk Cousins the whole time.
No,
he was there.
No,
did he?
Mm-mm.
No, man. And he was still, making the playoffs basically because of his defense. So, and there are. We all know how defensive coordinators like Wade Phillips, he was a great defensive coordinator, but not really the best head coach. But I don't think Zimmer was a bad head coach, to tell you the truth. He always had him competitive. He always had him in the games. It's not like he was getting blown out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, so no, I think I like his experience, and he seems it seems that he really wanted this job. So. And that's cool too. So I feel awesome. I like it.
Brett, did you hear any of this extracurricular stuff with Rex Ryan? With like him saying like the job wasn't Zimmer's yet. It was Super Bowl day, and he was making this stink about. He's like, no, none of this. Like Schefter went out there. He's like, sources have said they've hired Mike Zimmer, and Rex was like, no, they didn't. Like. Almost like Rex.
He was right, though.
He was right. Rex still was in the running.
And they were considering him, though. No, the Cowboys actually considered him.
I know. So, Brett, do you think Mike Zimmer's the right hire, or would you like a little bit more of a bully approach and get Rex Ryan?
In these type of situations, I defer to whatever Keith feels. I'll ask him. I'm like, how do you feel? And he's like, I love it. Then I love it. I'm not, I definitely don't want another Ryan, though.
There you go. Not even that. I was going to say that you don't understand. Buddy Ryan is probably the biggest nemesis in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. And his one fucking son came through and gave us probably one of the worst defenses in the NFL.
On purpose.
Mike Nolan, yeah, they're 2 of the worst. And then, and to get his brother, who I do like better, and I think he is a better defensive coordinator. And but anyways. So, yeah, no, I would not. That's the main reason I wouldn't want Rex Ryan, is just because of the name.
And it just seems to. Go ahead.
The only question I have about is it. Well, I guess Zimmer did it with Minnesota, but I was going to say, is an antiquated, because he's not that old, but, to have a defensive coordinator in there now with these new types of but he dealt with it in Minnesota, so whatever.
He's not old. You see his girlfriend?
Yeah, bad question. I mean, that is going to be a bad question. I think he can adapt.
And also, you got what's his name, Spags, for fucking.
He just signed an extension today.
The Chiefs. I mean, they're around the same age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, who turned that defense around tremendously. So.
I mean, the Chiefs defense is the reason why they were there, to be honest. I understand Mahomes is Mahomes and Kelsey is probably the best one to do his thing, but it's like, but Spags absolutely coached his ass off over there this year.
I could agree with that.
Yeah.
I could agree with that for sure.
But yeah, so look, the Mike Zimmer era is literally starting as we speak. I'll probably catch up on the press conference later on just to see. Look, I don't want to see a rah-rah thing. I don't want to see like, oh, we're gonna be biting kneecap. I don't want to see a Campbell situation. I want to see what he's going to do with a lot of these issues that we had on defense headed down the stretch where we played Buffalo, played Miami, went into the playoffs, got ran over by the Green Bay Packers in the fucking wild card game, which again, it still rubs me the wrong way considering how good the Cowboys looked at times and then how bad they looked at times. So now I'm looking at this defense, and when you look at the issues at hand, it was the run defense again, right? This was a thing where, we're drafting Mozzie Smith. And, oh, by the way, did you hear about the fact that they haven't drafted a defensive tackle in the first round since Russell Maryland? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. Mozzie, and as guys like Jesse Holly would say, it's grown man strength, and he's still a kid. You're right. So eventually, maybe Mozzie will come into his form. But it was the Dan Quinn idea that we can turn these safeties into linebackers. Everybody was undersized. Now, Keith, do you think that this is 1,000% the first thing that he addresses? Because as it stands right now, your linebackers are led by Marquise Bell and Damone Clark, guys that are just not linebackers. They're not.
I don't know how many fucking times, even during the wins, where I came on here and said I watched the condensed version and brought up the linebackers over and over and over again last season.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that it wasn't exposed even more. I mean, I would say it was exposed obviously during the Packer game, but against the Bills, it was exposed as well. Fucking James Cook was, Cook. I always think James Conner. James Cook fucking just destroyed us, ran all over us, Greg Belled us from the Buffalo games in the 80s. But that being said, yeah, he ain't having that. He's not. I mean, he's get that those small linebackers are out. He's gonna have. That's what we need, and that's what we lack this whole fucking season.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna.
I look.
Go ahead.
Getting back to the undersized linebackers, they're good to have, especially in today's game with the spread offenses. You need a hybrid player, but we do need a big body in the middle, and we don't have that. So, your outsides is still good, but we got to have a traditional, big-bodied, plug in the hole, standing up the lineman at a guy that could just stand up the lineman on the line of scrimmage type middle linebacker.
Well, there's somebody right now who's 6'2", 220 pounds, Demarion Overshawn. So like he will be coming back from injury. He's a big boy. I don't know if he can. I don't know.
20 pounds?
He's 200. He's listed as 220 pounds.
That's not that heavy for a linebacker.
Well, I'm seeing the best linebacker in college right now is 6', 230. So you're talking about 10 pounds.
Well, it's how they play, right?
It is how they play.
Well, Overshown to me is more of an outside linebacker. Like I said, he's a mini. I'm me.
But all right, so yeah, so
he's a different version of that. But we need somebody in the middle, a big hole stuffer. Like Pete's mom.
I was waiting for that.
But
it was so long overdue. But go ahead, sorry.
Right, that Fred Warner guy is he's fucking like somebody like that, man.
Oh,
if you have one defensive linebacker like that, did you see him just flying? We didn't have that at all this season from our linebacker position.
He is incredible.
He's the best in the league.
Fred Warner's definitely up there with one of the best middle linebackers in football, and he just commands attention. You have to.
Who's a better middle linebacker right now?
That's available?
No. What about what's his name? And also the guy that was on the Bears and went to the Ravens. That linebacker. They traded for him.
Oh, yep. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I'm dropping the name right now.
That motherfucker right there is another one. I mean, trying to find that one little piece.
So I looked it up, and again, we have to discuss a lot of these other things that will enable us to do it. So clearly, the Dak Prescott contract has to happen. They have to extend him in order for us to have any money. Zach Martin is making a shit ton of money on the right now, and D-Law is making a shit ton of money. So those are my three candidates for a restructure in order for us to even open up and find the bank account just to get somebody. There's 4 guys on my list that could potentially fill the hole, and that's literally like fill the gap that we need and fill the gap in schematically. And let me know if any of these guys interest you right now in free agency. Tampa Bay's Devin White. He's out there. He's going to be a free agent this year. I don't know the market right now for free agent linebackers. I can assume that it's not going to be, underpaid. I'm assuming the Cowboys are going to have to open up their piggy banks for this. But can I interest you in Devin White? Again, Tampa Bay's defense, not too bad. They held it down. They held Philadelphia to pretty much nothing. Brett, thoughts, Devin White?
Well, first of all, to be honest with you, I haven't assessed him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't watch him enough to know. I would say if we get the price is going to matter. We just need a decent person of a decent linebacker in the mid. See, the problem with us, and we do this every year, is we want to have the best, like fill every position.
Yeah, you're playing fantasy, really.
Kansas City doesn't have every position is phenomenal. You know what I mean? They figured out how to win. I mean, because when you're even looking at San Francisco had fucking the best weapons on offense, and they stopped them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
No, you're right.
But I think I don't know. I don't know enough about them, man. I didn't watch Tampa's defense that much. Keith, do you know?
Yes, I know Devin White, and yeah, I would like to have somebody like that.
So there's 3 more, and there's actually one guy that kind of jumps off the charts at me.
I don't know him. I'm saying I don't know enough about him.
Well,
no. When I say I know, I'm not putting you down. I'm just saying, like, I've seen it. I've watched him play.
Well, there's one guy on this list right now that's a free agent that I don't know if they can afford 2 because they have 2 guys that are free agents over there in Seattle. Bobby Wagner being one of them.
Again,
I know. This is the conversation that keeps. It's like a rotational where we talk about Bobby Wagner. It was like how many times we used to talk about what's the other Seattle? Earl Thomas, right? The Earl Thomas conversation was like fucking every year. It was like, we can get Earl. And then it's like eventually he just fizzled out and doesn't even play in the league anymore, right? So like Bobby Wagner, he's a leader, right? Like I don't know if he's physically the best gifted guy.
I'm cutting you off right there. No, I don't want him.
Fine. But I'll tell you
Devin White's he's 25, 26.
This would be his first contract, yeah. There's also Devin Bush.
Wagner.
Devin Bush from Seattle. I don't know about that. But I will say there's one guy, and this is the guy that I would crack the piggy bank open for right now, is Patrick Queen out of Baltimore. That dude is young, fast, physical. I would love nothing more than to have Patrick Queen on this defense. And I think he'd be a Mike Zimmer, like, gold mine, like just a real big find in this because, again, or you can go to the draft, right? Like, we can go young again and figure it out. And this is going to make all of us feel old. Do you know who the top rated middle linebacker is in college football right now coming out? His name is Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Jeremiah Trotter's kid is now the top ranked inside linebacker. He's 6 foot 230. He's a big boy as well.
Yeah.
Again, they got to address it somewhere because middle linebacker, it has to be done. Has to be.
I think we draft linebackers and linemen. And we got to see what we could find in the draft. If we could pick up somebody at a decent price. Now you're looking at Zach Martin, right? He's getting older.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not, I mean, I can't imagine them not trying to restructure at least to free up something. You know what I mean? But if we can't draft a decent middle linebacker and work with them, I mean,
yeah, but
what do we do? I mean, we spend money on a free agent to try.
Yeah,
I mean, you understand what I mean?
No, I do understand what you mean, but we need something now.
So we
can't wait for someone to develop.
This is where I'm at with you with that, Keith. Because Jerry Jones, he likes to hear himself talk, and then there's Stephen Jones who kind of likes to jump around the financial Olympics where he's just trying to finagle how we can get under the cap and all this other shit, right? Here's my thing. Jerry Jones said it. We all heard it. We're going all in. What does that entail? I'll tell you what that entails. I think they should take every single, not every single one. It's hypothetically, hyperbole. All the draft picks, trade them. Get me some established players in this league right now. You cannot go all in by rebuilding through the draft again. We can't do that shit again. We need guys. No. If they're a piece away, go get that piece who already is on his way out of a specific team, maybe last year of his contract type deal.
Okay, I kind of like that, but I wouldn't say we're one piece away.
I'm not saying that either, but I'm saying
I think there's. And I do think, there might be more suspect people on our defense than just Damone Clark playing linebacker.
I agree. Defensive tackles, same shit.
I would say also that, we just talked about Fred Warner. He was drafted fucking 6 years ago, and we're talking about him now and last year. So that's what I mean. Sometimes these linebackers, they take a while. Should we draft? And he was a 3rd or 4th round pick. So, yeah, we could find somebody in the draft. I'm not saying that. But if we want to win now, right now, we need a Devin White or a Queen. I'm for that. I'm completely for that.
I think you have to be, only for the sole purpose of look at the windows of some of these teams. they're closing rapidly. The Cowboys window is closing rapidly, considering the fact that one day Dak ain't going to be the guy. Another day you're going to have to pay CeeDee Lamb. Then you're going to have to go pay Micah. Then you're going to have to go pay, and all of a sudden it just gets just a fucking clusterfuck of people that we don't even want.
The window really isn't people getting older. The window is us having to pay these fucking contracts.
Right, and the Cowboys have now been
window.
infamous for kicking the can down the road. You know, like, we'll just restructure. We'll figure that out later. We'll just extend them here. We'll extend them there. We'll talk about this now. Now you have Dak Prescott, ready? And I wrote this down. Next year, Dak Prescott's cap number, we all know it's $60 million, but it also represents 23% of the entire salary cap for the Cowboys. A quarter of the salary cap is going to your quarterback. That cannot be. You can't do that. And especially if he's not going to show up when it really, really matters. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he played a bad game. I'm not saying that. But what I will say is that if you want to build this team, you got to go back to Brett's theory of Tom Brady and give me pieces. Give me something that you could work around. Because right now, this shit ain't working. The shit is not working the way they've been doing it. And I'm not saying they don't have high-quality players, because they do. And I consider Dak Prescott a top 5 quarterback in the league. And if you disagree, go check the fucking stats. Right? I'm not just saying that.
But I mean, I sent you the interview in the article. I don't think you guys read it.
Which one?
We do have a talented roster, but what Emmett and Michael Irvin said was exactly right.
Emmett's tired of it.
No, it's the will, yeah, but it's their will. He's like they don't have it. They don't. It's like the desire, the fucking the step up in your face. What I was talking about when you guys were saying, oh, it should be the coach, and I'm like, no, we need the fucking players that really fucking get in someone's face and care, and they want to fucking win this goddamn game and not think, oh, you know what, I'm tired. This is good. Let's just wrap this up for the fucking game. You know what I mean? It looks like they gave up. It really did. It looked, and I'm serious. It really looked that way in that game.
I mean, just look at the score, and like you can't just look at it like in the second half and like, wow, Dallas is like they woke up. Like, nah, man, it's just like the Packers let off.
They did, but I will say, go ahead, bro, because I don't want to leave this topic before I start going on something else. Go ahead.
No, it starts from the top. It starts from the coaching, and Kenny Gant was telling me about when Jimmy Johnson was there. Now, by the way, you got to remember that team became that team, but a lot of those players on that team were not first round picks. They were not, on paper, they weren't amazing athletes. Okay. You developed a squad and a defense. And if you remember, we had the number 1 defense and not one player made the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
When the Pro Bowl was actually something. Right.
But I'm saying, think about that. You have the number 1 defense in the NFL, right? Not one Pro Bowler. We had the number 1 quarterback, number 1 running back, 1, 2, and 4 receivers at that time because they played as a unit and they were disciplined. Now, the question is, can you do that now, right? Are you able to discipline the players like you did back then? Because, like Kenny said, I mean, you were afraid of getting cut. Jimmy did not fuck around. And guess who else was like that? Bill Belichick.
And Bill Parcells, too.
But I meant, we're talking about Belichick has had success in modern football. I don't know what kind of coach Andy Reid is. To me, it's amazing that this guy's won 3 Super Bowls. You never hear of his personality. We don't know. I really don't know. Is he a player's coach? Is he a disciplinarian? You really don't know because he doesn't really talk that much.
No, you do see it in the wins and those things, like when you see him getting all riled up and do the how about those Chiefs, right? He does all this shit.
Then I saw Kelsey yelling at him. It's like
he almost knocked him the fuck over. I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
But you look at I remember when he played when he was going against the Cowboys, he used to fucking do shit on the sideline too. When they would beat our ass, and he used to annoy me, getting the crowd up, doing that kind of shit.
It starts from the top, right? It starts from the top.
It does.
And you see what happens when the coach is that way, then more players step up. The problem is in any leadership structure, whether it's a corporation or anything, if there's no top, the second tier, they start vying for position, right? Like, I'm going to be the leader. I'm going to be the leader. because nobody really sits around and votes who's going to be the leader.
Well,
Right?
isn't
Nobody's
that what
like,
isn't
"You know,
that
we're
what
gonna
isn't
make
that what a
that."
team captain used to be though, Brett? Like team captain, you're the guy.
Captain sometimes, was I know in college we had a captain on our team that was extremely quiet. It's not that. There's usually like when Jimmy was being Jimmy, Michael and Troy, they could be more vocal because there's structure.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have that structure, and
Yeah,
I think it starts from the top.
I disagree. I totally disagree.
In
I
what-
see what you're
in what
saying, but
regard?
I disagree with this team. It's the fucking players. That's who it is. It's DeMarcus Lawrence. DeMarcus Lawrence said the same fucking thing when we lost against the Rams. And fucking Jason Garrett was our coach. When he said, yo, it would have been nice to have that bye. We would have played a lot better against the Rams in the divisional game. It's the fucking players. It's their mentality. You can have, once again, bro, that's why we had Bill Parcells on the team. We never won a fucking playoff game because he didn't have the players. It's a combination of both, I would say. Yes. I don't think McCarthy's that bad of a fucking leader or coach like that. The players were very, very happy that he fucking came back, which is a good thing.
Now, but is it a good thing, Keith?
Yeah, it is.
No, because of the fact, like, all right. So let me make a comparison here.
I just wanted to make a counterpoint to Keith. I'm not really talking about McCarthy either. It's Jerry Jones, man. And
that I could agree with.
With Jerry is the top. Now, he's not just an owner. He does everything. He puts himself in everything. Because Jerry's that way, you're getting a coach that is a certain way. Then the players fall. It's trickling down, man.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, the players are happy, right? And like you see that as soon as McCarthy was brought back, there was a lot of tweets that came out from the players, like excited. Now, are they excited because they realize that they can coast still and not have somebody up their ass? Because, dude.
How do we know he's not?
We don't. I'm just playing devil's advocate in that regard.
No, that's not why they're happy. These guys want. I mean, I really believe most teams want to fucking win, and they have the talent to get there. It's just when it comes down, and somebody wrote something to the little fucking troll on DallasCowboys.com, who I know he's been there for a while, but he's just he's angrier than me. Wait,
Mickey Spagnola. I was just gonna say
that fucking guy is so mean to people and just barks at people. I used to call their show and he'd yell at me. I'd bring something up, he'd just start fucking yelling at me. And I remember one time Nate Newton was on there. He's like, Nate Newton literally went to Mickey Spagnola. He's like, could you stop yelling at people that are calling here? Like they're paying your fucking check, asshole.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, somebody wrote this, which I thought was interesting. And he yelled at him, of course. He's like, since the 1990s success, this was a question. It doesn't matter who the coach is or who the players are. The team continues to fail in the playoffs. Okay. Is it the media attention that the Cowboys get? Is there too much pressure? And it's one of those things where it's like, he's like, how can this nearly 3-decade drought be explained? And sorry, does that have something to do? Like, what I'm trying to say is when you're, and I know it sounds crazy, and that all these players have pressure going up, but is there a certain player it takes to be a Dallas Cowboy, to be able to withstand all of that? Nobody's talking about the fucking Bengals. Nobody's talking about, I know the Chiefs are in that limelight now, but now, because we haven't even won a Super Bowl in 30 years, the media is even more on top of us because we're still the most popular team. Do you think that has something to do with us caving in like we do in the playoffs?
100%. Like it's like you almost need to have some kind of inner something, like just a different tick or a different mindset to play with the Cowboys. Everybody says it, man. Aikman doesn't go a broadcast if he's covering the Cowboys, that is. Aikman doesn't go a broadcast without saying, like, when you have that star on the helmet, it's all eyes on you. You know what I mean? The Cowboys could be 1-15 or 0-17, and they'll still be the highest watched game of the week, right? No matter what. That's part of being a Dallas Cowboy. And maybe you're right. Maybe there are people that just aren't built for that kind of spotlight. Because, look, you see these teams that are just, look, the Chiefs. I understand because of Mahomes and because of Kelsey and all that bullshit that was going on with him, they're very out there, right? But think about the Chiefs before Mahomes got there. Nobody fucking talked about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It just takes that one guy to turn your team around, right? Like, look at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Irrelevant until a guy named Trevor Lawrence became their quarterback as the number 1 overall pick. And now you're like, oh, okay, maybe they could build around and all this other shit, right? Okay, cool. There's teams like the Atlanta Falcons, man. Nobody's talking about the fucking Falcons anymore, but they were when Michael Vick was the quarterback.
A good example of someone who would have fit in good with us, that could take that pressure is Joe Burrow. I mean, that guy's cool as fuck.
Shiesty, Joe Shiesty, bro.
You know
Nothing bothers that guy.
And I didn't read Mickey's response, his little troll response. But don't worry about it. He
it's not worth it.
Told him, yeah,
not worth it.
The face of our franchise is our owner. All right, that's the problem. So when you're looking at somebody, I mean, of course, there is no bigger team than the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, even earning wise, we surpassed Manchester United. It's the Cowboys, Manchester United, New York Yankees. We're it. We're that of this sport. And what's amazing is we haven't won a Super Bowl in nearly fucking 3 decades.
yeah.
And we're still in it. We're still there. Every fucking talk, every meme, because people attack us. And the face of our franchise is our owner. There's no other franchise other than the Raiders with Al Davis back in the day where the fucking owner is our star.
Bro, he has a weekly radio spot. When the games are over, there's people waiting to talk to Jerry Jones.
I know.
Why? You know, like what is Jerry going to be able to tell you about the fucking X's and the O's of the game that just happened? He's not.
Now, in my opinion, we're in this dilemma because it's an unsolvable problem. Now, remember, when he hired Jimmy Johnson, the reason why Jimmy left was because of Jerry Jones.
Of course, they couldn't get along.
When they started together, Jerry didn't have the ego. He had the ego of being the billionaire. He had the ego of owning the team, but he didn't have the ego of the spotlight of winning Super Bowls, right? Because they didn't know how good the team was going to be.
They went 1-15 in his first year.
Once they would always show them together. I remember when they started talking about Jerry, right? His ego, in my opinion, took over. He has become the franchise. It's him. It's almost like those, where the computer morphs to the human and they're one and the same.
Right.
He is the Dallas Cowboys, and that is the lightning rod of it, right? So people, even fans, are sick of it. So you find people rooting for them and against them. For us because they love us, and against us because they hate us. And
or it's been comedy. It's been comedy for fucking 30 years.
And I think that's an insolvable problem. We can't remove ourselves from that. It's too far gone.
Well, do you think that there's any merit to the whole he's going all in this year? Do you think he knows that his time is running out?
But he's been going all in.
That's not
every year.
Not true, because look, if you look at the Cowboys throughout free agency, we're not spending big dollars.
We haven't. I get what you mean.
But look, I think it's still possible. He does hinder us. I mean, they do draft well. I mean, I'll tell you, they draft.
They know O linemen. Oh, he knows interior.
I mean, and he could find some players, and him. I mean, I don't know, and it's not really him. It's Will McClay, right?
Which they retained.
Department. Yeah. So, and who we still have, but at least he's not, overstepping him and saying I don't know how the process is, but regardless, we draft good players. But I think that's what I'm trying to figure out is, yeah, I know, Jeff, but I think when the players are on the field, I don't think they're thinking about Jerry Jones. I don't think they're really, I don't know. I mean, I do think that we have a shot with this. I do. I think we need that. What I keep saying, we need that I know it's hard to get, but you need that Ray Lewis. When I say Ray Lewis, you need that Michael Irvin. You need that one fucking player, man. That's gonna that's gonna get in someone's face. And
Keith, is that player?
Like I said,
is that player on the team? Is that player on the team right now?
I don't think so, man. Maybe Micah in the future. I don't know, but I think Micah. And I think Emmett took a shot at him with the podcast.
Absolutely.
He's like, all these players, they're more concerned about getting on their podcast and talking instead of going in the goddamn fucking locker room and screaming at people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it is a different era too. But I honestly, and that's the thing with Dak. That's what I want to get. I still can't believe how people are blaming him for the game. He wasn't even close to the fucking reason at all. Not even close. And and I'll say it again. The score's 13-7 at halftime. Okay, 13-7 if our defense doesn't allow them to score. Actually, pretty much it could have been 7-7. Because when he threw that interception, there was still 20 yards to go for a touchdown. The first one, 20 yards, and they fucking got it on the second play. Boom, right on our defense. So that could have been a field goal. But once he turned it on, do you know that out of 5 drives in the second quarter, he put up 24 points, Dak, starting at the end of the second quarter for 5 straight, 24 fucking points in 5 drives. The only problem is, the other fucking team scored touchdowns on every single one of their goddamn fucking drives.
Not wrong.
Okay, that I don't give a fuck who's your quarterback. It was all on that defense.
And look,
all on the defensive scheme and our linebackers and our linemen. That's who it was on.
And look, you're not getting the. And I know that now I feel like seedings are completely irrelevant. But you don't get the 2 seed. You don't win the NFC East without Dak Prescott. You just don't. Right? And like all these people are like, time to trade him. Time to trade him. Like, yeah, okay. Who are you getting? Let me know. Let me know right now. Who are you getting? Who are you replacing him with? Kirk fucking Cousins? What would you like to do at quarterback? Because right now, it's Dak Prescott's team, and that's it going forward. That's it.
Well, my point is, if they sorry, one more thing. If they really thought that Dak Prescott was going to win us that game, I got news for everybody. The final score would have had to have been 60-58.
Yeah. Okay?
If you thought Dak was going to win us that fucking game, because that's the only way that was going to happen, and because they took their foot off our fucking throat, because they could have scored way more points if they wanted to. So, and no quarterbacks. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care who your fucking quarterback is. But go ahead, bro.
Getting back to our upper management, right, or whatever's going on. A good example of how a team just implodes is look what happened to the Eagles. And they had administrative problems. They had problems in the coaching staff. They had problems with player personnel. You know what I mean? It's divided. It's that I don't think we have a strong captain steering the ship. And again, even with defense, we can fill we obviously need a middle linebacker. We're not talking about personnel, but 30 fucking years. This is 3 decades. Almost we're going on 27, 28?
29.
29 years. Let that sink in. I thought we had a drought in the 80s. And then we came back in the 90s. It's been almost 30 fucking years. What's the common denominator? Is Jerry fucking Jones.
You're not wrong.
You know what I mean?
And I wish you were wrong.
And I don't know if I've you talk to people about this. You don't know if this is a solvable problem. I don't know how he can reverse, I don't know what he's doing. I mean, it's obvious. See, he loves this team so much, right? Like it's his passion. It's his life. It's his legacy. But I don't know if we can remove him from. I think it's too far gone, man. And when you look at the coaching decisions, sometimes like even the Switzer move, you know what I mean? He didn't win that Super Bowl for us.
Yeah,
I know you.
Yeah,
I'm saying that is the start of Jerry Jones. That's when it started. It started when he was butting heads with Jimmy Johnson, who put that team in order. He set a precedent, right? The players were fucking in order. Everything was in order. And then it fell apart. And it hasn't been the same since.
So the Cowboys are out of order. Basically, like a fucking vending machine.
But then he hired someone like Bill Parcells, who pretty much built that 2007 divisional playoff team.
But think about it like this, man. The hire of Bill Parcells was my favorite as a Cowboy fan. Obviously, Jimmy Johnson was there when I was there because that's just what it was. But when we hired Bill Parcells, I was like, whoa, this I feel like will be different, right? And it was until it wasn't. And why wasn't it? Because Bill didn't want to deal with the shit anymore, and he left. Why did he leave? Because we got a guy named Terrell Owens on the team that wouldn't shut the fuck up. Bill was like, I'm fucking done. Like, and then you have T.O., you got the Romo, Jessica Simpson shit. You got just all this nonsense around this team, right? And then he literally, I don't know if you guys remember this, but he used to refer to T.O. as the player. Because he didn't want to fucking say his name. So Bill Parcells got tired of it real quick. And it just seems like what we've dealt with are a bunch of fucking yes men. Jason Garrett was a clapping yes man who worked under Jerry Jones and said, I'm going to have fucking money coming in for the next 10 years. No matter what I do, I'm not going anywhere. Do we have that again with fucking McCarthy?
You fail to realize, too, is that Dallas in the 70s was a fucking zoo. All right, you talk about a cast of characters. They made a fucking movie about that team. North Dallas 40, about the drugs and the women and the partying that was going on with the Cowboys. But up top, Landry kept it fucking in line. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We don't when we're talking about this, and I think it's important because you discuss this and you hear other older players talk about it. I don't know, and I'm not being cynical. I don't know if we're going to solve this problem with a fucking linebacker.
But see, it's like it's almost like going back and comparing quarterbacks now to the quarterbacks in the 70s, right?
I'm talking about leadership up top. That's
I know what you're saying, but I meant it's a different era. I meant there's no social media. There's so many things that go into today. There's so many things you were allowed to do then. But you got fucking Len Dawson smoking fucking cigarettes at halftime.
I'm not talking about even
there's not. What I'm saying, no. But what I'm saying is, you could do things. There's so many little leaks that can distract the team now. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, but you're still looking.
You get what I'm saying, Sturch?
Yes,
from the 70s.
I got it.
Okay, no. I'm saying the person. It's still in house, right? It's still in house.
Mm-hmm.
There's still the type of personalities and people you have to deal with in house, and you need something to keep it in line. Now, to your point, but that's the shit Belichick and Brady had to deal with. That's the shit Kansas City's. I mean, there is not a better example of internet than what happened with Taylor Swift and the Chiefs and Mahomes' brother doing dances and then getting kicked out of restaurants and his wife trying to be an influencer. They still kept it together. Yeah. They still won 3 fucking Super Bowls in 4 years, 5 years.
No.
What I'm saying is, and I'm not, because we have to go through it. We have to see if it works. A linebacker, an interior defensive lineman, and an offensive lineman, getting a new coach again, a new coordinator. It's the same fucking thing for 30 fucking years.
Yeah, but all right, then I got one for you then. I meant, and this is the thing. You're saying that it's all this. Look at our divisional playoff against the Packers.
Right.
The one that a catch away, not a catch. I mean, I know there was 2-3 minutes. We go to the Super Bowl that year with Jerry Jones as our owner. Okay, you look at the divisional playoff against the Giants in 2007. Patrick Creighton doesn't drop a 3rd and 16. We're in the NFC Championship against the Green Bay team with Brett Favre that had never won in Texas Stadium, was 0-11. So what I'm trying to say is that there is a chance. I get what you're saying. Does it hurt us? Of course it hurts us. But it's not like, it's never going to fucking happen.
But at the same
we're
time,
going to we could do it. No, we can do it with the right personnel.
This is completely. I think next week or next time we record the Grinch, Brett Ernst, and fucking America's hype man, like we can do it. And I'm just like, I want to fucking flip this table over right now.
I hope maybe I'm not articulating.
No, you are. You are. No, you are. Keith is telling you.
There's a common denominator for the past 29 years.
Yes, of course.
And again, we also, but if you do remember, we weren't able to stop Aaron Rodgers that game. Who's to say he wasn't going to march down the fucking field and score?
But that's not the point, bro. I mean,
we've never had a defense with Tony Romo. We had what?
That year the defense wasn't bad, but yeah.
Statistically, I'm saying is that we've never had a team.
No,
it's always
I get it, but my point
we're lacking here.
But my point is that you're bringing up the reasons why we lost the game, and you're saying it's because of the leader and it's because of Jerry Jones. That's not Jerry Jones is not the reason why we lost the divisional playoff.
Why we're not getting past this point.
But that's getting past it though. What I'm trying to say is, you're telling everyone Well, you're telling everyone out there what it sounds like to me is that there's no chance anything happens because Jerry Jones is the owner.
We have a chance. I mean, just like we have a better chance than 27 teams. I'm just saying why we're stuck. And I'm assessing it this way. This is all I'm assessing it. Is we've always had talent. We've always had quality teams. It just seems like this. Are we all in agreement that the reason why we lost to the Green Bay Packers was probably because of the game plan and the fact that even our defense looked fucking confused on the field.
Part of it, yeah. Most of it, yeah.
Right?
It was all the defense.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. I don't think, and to me, I think this was a coaching fault more than a player fault.
You could say that, and you know what? And guess what? And Brett, with that, they let the problem, who could have been the problem, who can't scheme up a defense when it comes to this game, go. He's gone. So now you fix it. You fix it with Mike Zimmer.
I mean, and look what happened when we played the Niners. I mean, we got blown the fuck out. We beat up on good teams, a little above average teams, but when it came to the elites, and by the way, Philadelphia wasn't what we thought they were, right? Okay. I mean, go ahead, bro.
No, I'm going to say, though, bringing your question about why we lost, I would say it was on our defense. And even if it was the scheme, we were still going to lose because the Packers knew, and Jordan Love came right out and
Jordan
said
Love, yeah, that interview was nuts.
He just came out and said, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but we knew you had defensive backs at linebacker. So that was their plan. Whether they were going to score 48 fucking points or 35 points, they still were going to score on us.
At will.
It would have been closer, maybe a closer game. Maybe Dak could have pulled it off in the end. But regardless, it was on them. And I just want to go on record again saying that, you know, the last two playoff losses before this, I completely blamed Dak Prescott. I blamed him for the divisional playoff loss against the 49ers, and I blamed him for the wild card loss at home against the 49ers.
You played like shit.
I was against Dak Prescott in the beginning of the season. I didn't think he was the guy. I thought we were wasting our time, and I've completely done. Is it a 180 or 360?
It's a 180.
180.
I've done a 180, and I'm telling you right now. And what I like about him too is I think he is the one guy. And I brought up Joe Burrow earlier. Is no one gets shit on more than the Dallas Cowboy quarterback.
Correct.
Okay, I've heard people say, "Oh, it's because he's a black quarterback," shit like that. No, it's called being the Dallas Cowboys fucking quarterback. No one got more abuse than fucking Tony Romo did. Okay,
agreed.
Now with Dak Prescott, what I love about it is you have after that 49er game when you had old players that have professional commentating jobs calling him ass, saying he sucks, saying he's this, all that kind of stuff. The way he bounced back this season and the way he shut everyone the fuck up, even the way after he threw that pick six against the Packers. When he threw that pick six against the Packers, it was 27-0. But like I said, he rattled off 24 points after that. That's a different Dak Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm for him now. And I'm even willing to say I didn't have him in the top 10 quarterbacks in the beginning of the season last year.
Now he's top 5.
He's top 5. He's close to top 5 if he's not top 5.
I agree.
So I meant I'm happy he's our quarterback, and that's why I wanted McCarthy back, everyone, is because as Brett said, bringing up Norv Turner with Troy Aikman, and it's a very good point that he brought up where, you know, sometimes people that take over an offense will see what the weakness is and what the strengths are and say, all right, we just won't do that anymore. This is what we're going to do for you. And I think that's what Mike McCarthy did with Dak, and I like that duo right now. So I'm all for our offense going into the next season. It's the defense that I'm still scared of, and that's you know.
Isn't it crazy though how we started and how dominant we were? But we I know I talked to Keith, you know, more than you, Sturchy, but it still seemed paper thin. And that's why when I know you guys made fun of me, I know it was all joking, but by week 6 and 7, like I said, I don't know who the fuck we are. This is why I didn't know who we are.
But it became pretty clear though. It became pretty clear towards the end of the year who the fuck we were. Like we're air raid.
Who we were is who showed up against fucking Green Bay.
No. What I'm saying, no, your identity crisis was like.
Keith's point was wait, really quick. Let me finish it, Sturge. The Chiefs, everybody's saying they're playing bad, and are they this? Who they are is the one holding the trophy when they got to the playoffs. That's who you are. And it's fun in the beginning of the season. We take it week by week, but everything leads up to who and how we're getting in the playoffs and how we're going to play in the playoffs. And are you going to hoist the trophy and get the championship? That's all that fucking matters. So when you're watching a team, even the second week of the season, third week of the season, all of it is predicting and seeing what it's going to be like when we hit December and then January if we're lucky, right?
Right.
And I still don't know who the fuck we are as a team. I don't even Keith, you know what my brother did when we drafted Emmitt Smith and then when Emmitt rushed for, I forgot that first game,
123 yards. He rushed for 100 yards against Tampa Bay, and I framed it.
He framed it and said, and he was like, dude, this is the next. He's like fucking 9. This is the next fucking. But he was right because you can see it. And then the years that were leading up to that first Super Bowl, because now I'm in my 20s, I knew that team was going to be great. I don't know what the fuck we have now. It just seems like a bunch of like really expensive silverware in a serving set that's not complete. You know what I mean? Like, wow, this fork is worth $50 million, or this is a genuine Italian silver fork.
You don't have any dinner to eat it with.
Yeah, it's just there.
And you're eating on a paper plate.
By the way, that's the worst and best analogy I've ever made. At the same time.
Oh my God. Anyway.
I'm saying you got this beautiful dishware set, but there's all the pieces. It's just there. It's incomplete. I don't know what the fuck it's even a part of. Where does this go? Does that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. Anyway.
It's like when you go to Pier 1 Imports and Restoration section. And you're trying to buy a duvet for your comforter.
Right. No, that's it. That's the 23 season in a nutshell. We are an incomplete fucking China set.
Do you have anything? Starch, are you done or no? Are we done?
I mean, listen, there was a lot more, and we can get to it as the offseason goes.
Before you leave, let's do our we got to do it real fast, though, off the top of our heads. What was your favorite game this season?
My favorite game this season was, can I have a 1 and a 1A?
Sure.
All right. 1, being with my brother opening night, beating the shit out of the Giants. And then number 2, being with Brett and beating the shit out of the Patriots. I mean, those games we were there for them. I mean, being there in person and watching that all go down, it's like, we're going to win the fucking Super Bowl. Like Little Starch was Little Starch and hard.
Why? Why are you picking them to lose to Buffalo? Why? They're a great team. Have you been watching the football? Have you been watching?
Anyway, those are my 2 fucking favorite games. Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead, jerk off.
Well, you know what? It's so weird because I looked and we had 5 1-scoring games. Every other game was a blowout, whether we won or lost. 5 1-scoring games. In those games, we were 3-2. Okay. We beat Seattle. We beat
Detroit.
The Chargers, which is the one I was at. And what was the other one?
Detroit.
I can't remember the other one. Oh, and Detroit. There you go. So those 3 right there. So I have to go with the Chargers myself because it was my daughter's first game. I took her to the stadium. We just got off an ass kicking by the Niners. And anyway, so I go with the Charger game as my favorite game.
Brett?
I'm going to do a 1A. The Seattle game. I mean, I'm just speaking as like watching the team play.
Yeah, no.
I was on stage. We were down. I got off right when, like the second quarter, watched the game. I thought that was one of my favorite games. And of course, when we beat the Eagles, the second time we played them, obviously, because we lost the first time.
Wow. Utter disrespect to being in a game with little Starch.
All right, all right. So do MVP. Bro, who's your MVP of this season? You go first. Off the top of your head.
Aubrey Maddock was phenomenal, but God, I gotta go Dak, man.
Can we do MVPs? Can we do MVP without Dak?
Excuse me?
Can we do an MVP pick without Dak?
Not there. No.
No, because I feel like everybody's gonna say Dak.
Well, no, because it's one of those things. Considering the shit he got in the beginning of the season, at least from me and from a lot of the fan base. It's nice to hear him getting the MVP of our team. So yeah, why don't you do a 1A and a 1B? So 1 is Prescott for you, bro, and then do another one.
I'm going Aubrey Maddock. I liked.
It's not a bad one.
The story came in. I mean, the kid was phenomenal until he missed the last fucking.
If that didn't express what the season was going to be, like at the end of it, like, oh man, we were so perfect, this is great, and then he misses the field goal, like, wow, this whole thing's going to come crashing down.
I'm sorry too, and you got to go Bland as well. I mean,
all right, now you're taking everybody.
Well, let's start go now. What do you got?
Well, for me, it's easy. Dak Prescott is the MVP of this team because that's what he is. He's the most valuable. You take him away, and this team might not function the way it functioned this season. And, he just mentioned Bland. I was going to say Bland, but I'm going to tell you right now, I got this feeling, all right? A little starching right now. I'm going to put 1A. I got a feeling that a lot of people are talking about, obviously, the hype and the hoopla that is Travis Kelce is one of the better tight ends in football. Jake Ferguson is going to be a fucking problem. He's going to be a problem. He's going to get better. The camaraderie with Dak is going to get tighter. I'm telling you right now, Jake Ferguson is the kind of guy that will line up and run through a wall for Dak Prescott. I'm giving Jake Ferguson my 1A.
All right. See, it's so funny because the 3 I thought about was Dak, obviously, Aubrey Maddock, and Jake Ferguson. Those are the fucking 3. I don't have one defensive player on my mind. Sorry, guys.
Not even Deron Bland?
I can't.
I
think what Bland did was fantastic, but after seeing how we lost and the reasons we lost and going back and thinking about it, all I have is a bad taste in my mouth when I think about them.
Agreed.
Especially since it was the opposite for me, thinking they were going to be all world in the beginning of the season, and they were all shit, pretty much. Sorry. But I go, so I have to go with, I take Brett's, except I might put Aubrey Maddock at number 1.
I mean, when's the last time we had a fucking kicker like this? Like, it's been a while. Dan Bailey.
He saved us in a lot of games, believe it or not. Those scoring games I'm talking about, he doesn't make those low scoring games. He doesn't make any of those field goals. We lose those 3 games.
I agree.
So I'm gonna give it to Aubrey.
I like it.
Then obviously Dak
butter.
Is the second.
Butter is what they're calling him. Smooth as butter.
Can I start a new category?
Sure.
Our Bill Bates Award. Like who's the player that gave the most, like you watched that had the most heart, or like, not necessarily, could be special teams guy, could be anybody. Like
I got someone.
I
Bill
got one
Bates
too.
/ Kenny Gant Award.
All right.
There you go.
The Bill Bates Kenny Gant Award on the Jersey Boys podcast. All right, who's that go to, Brett? For you?
I was gonna say Ferguson or maybe Hendershot. Not Hendershot.
He was hurt a lot, so probably not
You
Henderson.
mean Shoemaker?
No.
All right, so you're going.
Jake Ferguson.
Ferguson gets your Bill Bates Award. Okay.
Gets my
Keith?
Bill Bates Award. I mean, he played tough. He came up big.
I go.
Yeah,
I go Jordan Lewis.
It's a good one.
I like
Jordan Lewis is a free agent. We'll talk about free agents on the next time we record because
taking up the run and coming up, making hits and being there for pass plays. I mean, I'm just thinking Bill Bates. So, he did. Jordan Lewis played.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that style of player. It's just that underdog guy that you just fucking, gave you that. Yeah, get you amped up.
No, I get you, and I don't know because Jordan Lewis was drafted. Bill Bates wasn't. I don't know. That's a good one.
Again, it's the player that gets you amped up.
Right.
Yeah.
The little things.
I'm gonna it's hard because I mean obviously Ferguson fits that bill too, but he's one of my MVPs. So I'm gonna say I like J-Ron Curse. Like J-Ron Curse, every time he's on the field, he's popping somebody, he's making a play. Like he's always out there. He's a reliable source, I would say. I was gonna actually say DeMarcus Lawrence before the playoffs because that dude was in the backfield all the time for running game.
I got one, dude. The fucking what's his name? Is it Batty ass? Who's the one that was running down and recovering fumbles on the offensive line with us? Like, remember that one where he ran down he did it two.
Biotish. Wasn't that Biotish?
Yeah, that motherfucker right there, bro. Yeah, that's another one.
I'm pretty sure Sean McEwen did one of those too. Good friend of the show.
Possibly. But I remember when Pollard was running or someone stripped him and he was down the field 30 yards.
Yeah, Pollard. Let's pour one out for Pollard because Pollard's probably walking out of here too. So anyway,
we'll put Emmitt Smith in his top 5.
Yeah, what a fucking horrible. There's a lot of guys to discuss in the running back department. We'll get into that next time we sit down and record. Yeah. But this has been a good one. We wrapped up the season, put a bow on it, gave some MVPs out, talked a little Mike Zimmer, talked a little leadership at the top. Hopefully Jerry Jones steps down, shit like that. Little tiny things like that.
And my Tom Landry Award goes to Al Harris.
Yes. Hey, listen, with that. Coach
Coaching-wise,
Harris,
dude,
bro.
that guy, I love that guy, and he's representing South Florida, dog.
Yeah, love me some Al Harris. I actually politicked for him to be the defensive coordinator if they didn't go big name. Listen, do I think he could have ran a defense? I have no fucking idea, but I'm thinking he had those boys flying around, and he was one of those guys that even if they gave up a shit play, he had them mentally ready for the next prep. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't. Yeah. There was nobody with their fucking heads down in the secondary. Like, oh shucks, we're never gonna. You know, he got them going. So, shout out to the Dallas Cowboys, breaking our hearts again in 2023, 2024. But hopefully we get back to this. We'll talk about some free agents, some draft stuff. We'll cover that when we cover that. For Dave Sturchio.
Wait. I'm sorry. What about Keith's Mom Award?
Oh, well, that's easily probably Tyler Smith. I want to say Tyler Smith.
No, it was Hankins when he came back.
That's true. That's true.
You see his shape?
Sloppy and fat and shit.
For Dave Sturchio, Brett, and Keith Hertz, this has been another episode of the Jersey Boys podcast. Be sure to like the video, do all that fun shit you're supposed to do with the old videos, and we'll see you guys next time.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boys podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst Boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Whatever.
How about them Cowboys?